So let me tell you the story. It's a true story. I came to visit Crown Heights sometime in the 80s. And I went upstairs to the office near 770, and I saw that there are some people trying to rearrange one of the offices that was a storage room, and they wanted to make it into an office. So there were the file cabinets with all the Rebbe's letters, and all the files were there. And they're moving the furniture, with wheels. So I was working with them, helping out. And as we're wheeling this file cabinet, a folder, a manila folder, slipped out from between the drawers. We picked it up. It had one letter in it, a typed letter to the Rebbe. And on the page, in the margins of the letter, the Rebbe's answer was handwritten. So we take a look at the letter. It was written many years earlier from a doctor in Manhattan. I think Dr. Jacobson. The letter says like this. My friend, Mr. Shapiro, decided to write a Sefer Torah. So he hired a Sefer, wrote the Sefer Torah, and when it was about to be finished, you have to make a party. So Mr. Shapiro asked me if we could have the party in my apartment, which was bigger than his apartment. So I agreed to have the party in my apartment in Manhattan. We invited a bunch of people, different people. In the middle of the party, there was a young woman there, and she had a heart attack, and she died in the room. Now, the guy says, I'm okay. My emunah is okay. I have no questions. But people are asking me, and especially students, college students, they're asking me, how do you explain such a thing? A woman comes to a party of a Sefer Torah, she's doing a mitzvah, and she dies? How do you explain such a thing? So the guy is asking, what should I tell them? His second question was, why did it happen in my apartment? So a little bit he did have, he wasn't completely okay with it. His third question was, what should we do with the Sefer Torah? We took a look at the Rebbe's answer. It was amazing, stunning. It was written very brief, not like a letter. The Rebbe would write quick answers, and then the secretary, Rabbi Simpson, would, or Nissen Mendel, would write it out as a letter. But the Rebbe wrote it only as like points, A, B, C. So the Rebbe writes like this. A, tell your friends that human beings can't understand an Eibishter, and that makes sense. Number 2, the Eibishter wants us to try to understand him. So let's try. Number 3, every person when they're born is given a certain amount of years. It's announced. What's going to be, how long you're going to live, when you're going to die. To the minute, to the second, what's going to be. There's a comedian who says, I know when I'm going to die because my birth certificate has an expiration date. So you're only born for a certain amount of time. That's how it is. Very, very seldom can a person do something so horrific that he dies before the time. It's very rare. It is very, very rare that you can do something so magnificent that you live past that time. The average person dies on the day that he was supposed to die. Now, when it comes that day, it can happen under many different circumstances. God forbid a person can die far away from home, where nobody knows him and nobody cares. A person can die at home, surrounded by his own family. Makes a big difference. In fact, the last minutes of a person's life, every little detail becomes important. So the Rebbe says, you can't imagine how significant it is for a religious girl to know that as she's dying and can't speak, she knows that she's in a room that has a mezuzah on the door, and the mezuzah says, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, which she can't say. So what should you tell your students? You should tell them that what they saw was a magnificent example of Hashgacha Pratis. This girl deserved to die among friends in a room where there was a mezuzah at the completion of a Sefer Torah. In fact, the Rebbe says, according to the Baal Shem Tov, why do you think your friend Mr. Shapiro suddenly decided to write a Sefer Torah? We were like, how come we can't see? Yeah. How come we can't see so clearly? It's so obvious. Then the Rebbe says, why did it happen in your apartment? Because you're a doctor. So sometimes you take care of patients in the hospital, sometimes you do it in your apartment. You're a doctor. Come on, grow up. And then the Rebbe says what to do with the Sefer Torah, whatever. So there were 5 of us in the room, and we sat down, and we were just stunned. And we're sitting there talking about this incredible clarity of vision. And the phone rang. We pick up the phone. A shliach is calling in a panic. This is the real punchline of the story. He says, somebody there, please, write a note to the Rebbe, quick. I'm in the middle of a bar mitzvah for my son, and my father came from Eretz Yisrael, and he just died at the bar mitzvah. What should I do? What should I say to people? We said, oh my goodness, we just have we dictated the letter to him, and he went and read it to the people at the bar mitzvah. So then we were thinking, it's amazing. The letter fell out 15 years after it was written, just in time so that we can give the letter to this guy who... And then we looked at each other and we said, who decided to move furniture here? Why all of a sudden? I can tell you, they never did anything after that. The room remained the same. They lost interest. It never became an office. It was just for that letter to fall out.